In November 2020, Xi Jinping declared complete victory over poverty in China.
2020年，全面建成小康社会，取得伟大历史性成就，决战脱贫攻坚，取得决定性胜利。
800 million people lifted from extreme poverty, the greatest achievement in human history, they said. But what they didn't tell you is this. On the very same day, 33 million rural residents still needed government assistance to survive. Nearly 300 million Chinese still lived on less than $5.50 a day. Here's what poverty in China really looks like, and why the story you've been told isn't the whole truth. It's 2025. In the gleaming cities of Shanghai and Shenzhen, billionaires buy art for millions, while 3 hours away by high-speed rail, another China exists. This is rural Gansu province. Here, residents live on $2,700 a year, while Shanghai residents make $10,000. Here, children walk 3 miles to school through winter frost because their parents left years ago, chasing higher wages in factories they'll never own. 69 million children, 30% of all rural children, grow up without one or both parents. They're called left behind children. Many parents left when their kids were 1 or 2 years old. When they call home now, the children don't pick up. There's no emotional connection anymore. This is the China that official poverty statistics don't capture. The China where the word victory feels hollow. To understand poverty in China, you need to understand how China counts the poor. China's official poverty line, $2.30 a day. By that measure, they eliminated absolute poverty entirely. But here's what that really means. If you earn $71 a month, you're not poor, not officially. The World Bank uses a different measure for upper middle income countries like China, $5.50 a day. By that standard, 300 million Chinese remain in poverty. That's nearly the entire population of the United States. Numbers don't lie, but they don't tell the whole truth either.
现在有收入吗？
我的收入啊，都没得，我78了，
没有养老金吗？
没得没得，
那你平时花钱怎么办呢？
花钱，就是我家找的。
那这是去干嘛呢？
我去买个米呀嘛。
像您那之前给别人干家务，
干家务那真才300块钱一月，就是买点米，我也没几个人。
咱们今天给婆婆买点米，也要买点肉。
Meet the Hukou system. Think of it as an invisible passport that follows you from birth to death. Born in the countryside, you're rural forever. Born in the city, urban privileges for life. 296 million rural workers power China's cities, building skyscrapers they'll never live in, manufacturing products they'll never afford. But they can't bring their children, can't access urban schools, can't get city healthcare, so they leave their children behind. 90% of poverty in China is rural, but the path out of rural poverty is blocked by a system designed 60 years ago to control population movement. In 2017, thousands of migrant workers in Beijing were evicted simply because they didn't possess urban registration, sent back to villages where their jobs no longer existed. Wang Fuman became an internet sensation in 2018. His hair frozen solid from walking 3 miles to school in sub-zero weather. They called him Frost Boy. What they didn't mention, his father worked construction 2,000 miles away. 13% of left-behind children under 6 are stunted from malnutrition. Not because there's no food, but because their caregivers lack knowledge about proper nutrition and health care. Grandparents in their 70s raising toddlers they barely know. These children are 4 times more likely to be short for their age, exhibit higher rates of depression and anxiety, and are at greater risk of turning to crime. In March 2024, a 13-year-old boy was murdered by 3 classmates in Hebei province. The incident reignited national debate about juvenile crime and the psychological costs of family separation. 69 million children growing up with remittances instead of hugs, money transfers instead of bedtime stories. 44% of China's workforce is considered vulnerable employment, inadequate earnings, low productivity, dangerous conditions. These are the people who built modern China. The average hospital visit costs 330 yuan, about $46. For migrant families earning less than 1,000 yuan a month, about $140, that's 1/3 of their income. 30% of poor households identify healthcare costs as their primary financial difficulty. During just 1 month of COVID-19 lockdowns, China lost $100 billion in rural migrant worker wages. With no savings and limited safety nets, families that took decades to escape poverty fell back into it overnight. The system that created China's economic miracle also created its most vulnerable population. 800 million lifted from extreme poverty, yes, but 4 million rural residents still receive government assistance for extreme poverty. Here's the paradox. China's poverty reduction is both the greatest achievement in human history and an incomplete victory. Between 1981 and 2020, China accounted for 75% of global poverty reduction. In 1981, 97% of rural Chinese lived in extreme poverty. By 2020, less than 1%. But extreme poverty and human dignity are not the same thing. Premier Li Keqiang admitted that 600 million Chinese still live on less than $140 a month. That's 2 California's worth of people struggling to afford basic necessities. The real cost of China's economic miracle isn't measured in dollars, it's measured in missed birthdays. First steps taken while parents are 2,000 miles away. Grandparents who die without ever really knowing their grandchildren. The COVID-19 pandemic forced millions of migrant workers to return home, reuniting families for the first time in years. Many discovered their children had grown up. Some discovered they were strangers. Ironically, some left-behind children showed better mental health outcomes than expected. Why? Because remittances provided opportunities their parents never had. Education, healthcare, hope. In 2024, rural household income rose 6.6%, faster than urban income growth. The gap is slowly closing. The urban-rural income ratio narrowed from 2.39 to 2.34. The government is reforming the Hukou system, slowly. Some migrant workers can now obtain residency status, allowing them to bring their children. But for 69 million left-behind children, change can't come fast enough. China eliminated extreme poverty by moving the goalposts, but it also moved mountains. 800 million people now have access to clean water, electricity, basic health care. That's not nothing. That's everything. The question isn't whether China won its war on poverty. The question is, what kind of victory was worth 69 million children growing up without their parents? What poverty in China really looks like isn't just about money. It's about the price of progress and who pays it. The next time you read about China's victory over poverty, remember this. Behind every statistic is a story. Behind every success, a sacrifice. Behind every lifted life, someone left behind. What do you think? Should poverty be measured only in dollars or in the human connections that development sometimes breaks? Share your thoughts below. And if this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to understand that economic miracles are never as simple as they seem.